Intermittent fasting is sold as a switch. Skip breakfast, flip your body into fat burning mode, and watch the weight fall off without counting a single calorie. Here's the honest version. The research says intermittent fasting can work for weight loss, but it almost certainly doesn't work the way the internet told you. And once you understand the real reason, you'll know whether it's worth doing at all or whether you're making it harder than it needs to be. Let's weigh it up. First, the basics, because fasting has been stretched to mean a dozen things. Intermittent fasting just means cycling between eating and not eating on a schedule. The common version, 16-8. You eat within an 8-hour window and fast for 16 hours, which for most people just means skipping breakfast or dinner. 5-2. You eat normally 5 days a week and keep calories very low on 2. And alternate day fasting, which is exactly what it sounds like. Notice what none of these are. They're not diets that tell you what to eat. They only change when you eat. Hold that thought. It's the key to the whole thing. So does it actually produce weight loss? Short answer, yes, for many people. The research is clear that intermittent fasting leads to real weight loss. But here's the question that actually matters. Does it work better than just eating less the normal way? And that's where the hype falls apart. Multiple meta-analyses comparing intermittent fasting head-to-head with standard daily calorie restriction land in roughly the same place. The two produce very similar results. Some reviews find fasting slightly ahead. A 2025 meta-analysis found that where it exists, the difference is small, possibly small enough not to matter in real life. The honest summary of the evidence supports intermittent fasting works about as well as cutting calories the regular way. Not dramatically better, not magic. So, if it's not magic, why does it work at all? Here's the part the fat-burning switch videos skip. When you shrink your eating window to 8 hours, something simple happens. Most people eat less. It's hard to fit 3 full meals plus snacks into 8 hours. So total daily calories quietly drop, often without you consciously trying. That calorie reduction is doing most of the work. The clearest studies on this controlled for total calories, and when both groups ate the same amount, fasting lost most of its special advantage. In other words, intermittent fasting isn't a metabolic cheat code. It's a tool that makes eating less feel easier, which, if you struggle with portion control or constant snacking, is genuinely useful. But the deficit is still the engine. Fasting is just one way to get there. Let's deal directly with the oversold claims, because they're everywhere. It flips your body into fat-burning survival mode. Your body does shift fuel sources during a fast, but that doesn't override calories. You can absolutely fast and still gain weight if you overeat in your window. It triggers autophagy and detoxes you. Autophagy is real cellular housekeeping, but the dramatic claims about it from short daily fasts are far ahead of what the human research actually shows, and your liver and kidneys handle detox regardless. It spikes your metabolism. If anything, large prolonged deficits do the opposite over time. The pattern here is the channel's recurring lesson. The mechanism is real but small, and the marketing inflates it into something it isn't. So, should you do it? That depends on the person, and this is where honesty matters more than hype. Fasting tends to suit people who'd rather follow a simple rule. Don't eat before noon, then track every calorie, and who naturally eat fewer, larger meals. It can genuinely simplify things. But it's not for everyone, and some people should be cautious or skip it entirely. Anyone with a history of disordered eating, because rigid food rules and long fasts can be a serious trigger. People who are pregnant or breastfeeding, people with diabetes or on blood sugar medication, where skipping meals can be dangerous. And frankly, anyone for whom fasting leads to binging later in the day, which cancels the whole point. This is firmly a talk to your doctor before starting situation. If any of that applies to you, we're describing what the research says, not telling you what to do with your body. And to be clear, because the internet won't be, More extreme is not better. Multi-day water fasts and dry fasting aren't a shortcut to fasting. They carry real risks and aren't something we'd ever frame as a weight loss hack. So, does intermittent fasting work for weight loss? Honestly, yes, but not because it's magic. It works because it's a structure that helps many people eat less without counting, and it works about as well as simply eating less would. If that structure fits your life, it's a perfectly good tool. If it makes you miserable, or if you binge the moment your window opens, it has no special power you'd be missing out on. The deficit is what matters, and there are gentler ways to get there. The fasting switch isn't a switch, it's just a different door to the same room. We're weighing it up. We read the studies so you don't fall for the hype. If this gave you the honest version, subscribe and tell us, have you tried fasting and did it actually stick?